They say the Great Wall of China is one of the greatest marvels ever built by human hands. But what if I told you it's also one of the longest cemeteries on Earth? And what if I told you that the very stones that make up this legendary structure might be infused with the bones of those who perished building it? And that the wall, despite all its grandeur, ultimately failed to protect China when it mattered the most? For centuries, this architectural wonder has been shrouded in myths, betrayals, and haunting secrets. From mass graves hidden beneath its foundation to the shocking act of treachery that led to an empire's downfall, the truth about the Great Wall is far darker than you might think. So buckle up, because in today's episode of World Decoded, we're diving deep into the chilling and untold history of the Great Wall of China. And with that being said, let's dive in. The origins of the Great Wall can be traced back to the chaotic warring states period between 475 and 221 BCE, when China was not a unified empire, but a fractured land of rival kingdoms. These warring states, Qi, Yin, Zhao, Wei, Qin, and others, were in constant conflict, each vying for supremacy over the land. To protect their territories from both one another and the fearsome nomadic Xiongnu tribes of the north, these states built separate defensive walls using tamped earth, wood, and stone. These early walls were nothing like the monolithic structure we know today. They were crude, often ineffective, and primarily served as temporary deterrents rather than impenetrable fortresses. It was not until 221 BCE, when Qin Shi Huang, the infamous first emperor of China, conquered and unified the warring states under his rule, that the idea of a singular Great Wall was born. Qin was obsessed with the idea of a strong, centralized empire, and he saw the scattered fortifications as weak and disorganized remnants of a fractured past. Determined to secure his new empire from the relentless northern raiders, he ordered the dismantling of the smaller walls and commanded the construction of a continuous barrier that would stretch across China's northern frontier. But this was no simple task. Qin Shi Huang conscripted hundreds of thousands of workers, peasants, soldiers, prisoners, and even scholars deemed disloyal, to toil under unimaginably harsh conditions. The wall, which spanned thousands of miles, was built through some of the most treacherous landscapes on Earth, from the unforgiving deserts of Gobi to the towering peaks of the Yin Mountains. The labor was relentless, the environment merciless, and the punishment severe. Many workers perished due to exhaustion, disease, and malnutrition. Others were executed for failing to meet their daily quotas. And yet, despite these sacrifices, Qin Shi Huang's wall was ultimately ineffective. The Xiongnu and other northern tribes still found ways to breach its defenses, and within a few years of his death, large sections of the wall fell into disrepair. One of the most chilling aspects of the Great Wall's history is the grim fate of those who died building it. The wall is often called the longest cemetery on Earth, because it is believed that the remains of countless laborers were interred within its very foundation. While historical evidence of this practice is debated, ancient texts and folklore maintain that workers who perished on the job were unceremoniously buried within the wall itself, their bones and spirits forever trapped within its endless expanse. Some historians argue that this belief was exaggerated, but the sheer number of deaths, estimated to be in the hundreds of thousands, suggests that the wall is at the very least a graveyard of human suffering. Following the collapse of the Qin dynasty, the Han dynasty from 206 BCE to 220 CE took up the mantle of fortification. Unlike the Qin, the Han expanded the wall significantly, stretching it further west into the desolate Gobi Desert to protect the Silk Road trade routes. Under Emperor Wu of Han, new sections of the wall were reinforced, watchtowers were erected, and sophisticated signal systems using smoke and fire were developed to alert garrisons of approaching enemies. However, like their predecessors, the Han discovered that the wall was not an impenetrable shield. The Xiongnu, ever adaptable, found ways to bypass its defenses, raiding deep into Chinese territory when the opportunity arose. For centuries, various Chinese dynasties continued to modify and expand the wall. However, it was during the Ming dynasty from 1368 to 1644 that the wall took on the form we recognize today. The Ming emperors, having overthrown the Mongol-led Yuan dynasty, were determined to prevent any future Mongol invasions. They rebuilt the wall using stronger materials like brick, stone, and lime, turning it into an engineering marvel. They constructed formidable watchtowers, barracks, and storage facilities along its length, ensuring that soldiers stationed on the wall could survive for extended periods. Unlike earlier versions, the Ming Wall was designed with defensive warfare in mind, featuring sloped ramps for rapid deployment of troops, trapdoors for surprise attacks, and battlements for archers to rain arrows upon invaders. Yet, for all its grandeur, the wall ultimately failed in its purpose. In 1644, one of the most infamous betrayals in Chinese history took place at Shanhai Pass, which was one of the wall's most critical fortresses. Wu Sangui, a Ming general, faced an impossible choice. The capital, Beijing, was under siege by the rebel leader Li Zicheng, while the Manchu forces, who were the outsiders from the north, waited beyond the wall. In an act of desperation, Wu Sangui sided with the Manchus and opened the gates of the wall, allowing them to march through unchallenged. This single act led to the downfall of the Ming dynasty and the rise of the Qing dynasty. Ironically, the very structure meant to keep invaders out had instead facilitated their entry, sealing the fate of China for centuries to come. Despite its historical significance, the Great Wall is shrouded in myths and misconceptions. One of the most widely believed but false claims is that the wall is visible from the moon with the naked eye. In reality, astronauts have confirmed that it is nearly impossible to see it without magnification as it blends into the natural landscape. Another lesser-known fact is that the Great Wall is not a single continuous structure. Instead, it is a fragmented network of walls built by different dynasties, some of which have eroded away over time. There are also eerie legends associated with the wall. Travelers and soldiers stationed at remote sections have reported hearing ghostly wails in the dead of night, believed to be the tormented spirits of the laborers who perished during its construction. The tale of Lady Ming Jiang remains one of the most haunting stories connected to the wall. According to legend, she searched tirelessly for her husband, who had been conscripted to build the wall, only to find that he had died. Her grief was so immense that a section of the wall collapsed, revealing his bones. Though just a story, it reflects the deep sorrow and human cost hidden behind the wall's imposing facade. Today, the Great Wall faces threats not from invading armies, but from time, neglect, and human activity. Large sections have crumbled due to natural erosion, while others have been dismantled by villagers who repurposed its bricks for their homes. Tourism, while essential for funding preservation efforts, has also taken its toll. Graffiti, vandalism, and overcrowding threaten the integrity of the wall's most famous sections, while lesser-known portions continue to decay unnoticed. Efforts are underway to preserve what remains, but the challenge is immense. But before we conclude, there are some truly astonishing details about the Great Wall that many don't know. While we've explored its dark past, let's take a moment to appreciate just how massive and unique this structure really is. For starters, the wall stretches an astonishing 21,196 kilometers or 13,171 miles, almost half the Earth's circumference. And here's the kicker. Some sections still remain buried underground, waiting to be rediscovered. And did you know that parts of the wall were once painted white? Early builders used this tactic to reflect sunlight, making it easier to spot enemy movements from a distance. And here's something truly mind-blowing. Some parts of the Great Wall are actually underwater. In regions like Panjiakou and Xifengkou, sections of the wall were submerged due to the construction of reservoirs. If you're feeling adventurous, you can even go scuba diving to explore these eerie, submerged ruins. But the wall wasn't just about defense. It was also a crucial postal route. Long before modern mail services, couriers on horseback used the wall to relay messages between military outposts, ensuring that crucial information traveled swiftly across the empire. And perhaps the most staggering fact of all, the wall wasn't built overnight. It took more than 2,000 years to construct. The earliest sections date back to 700 BC, with different dynasties expanding and modifying it until the 17th century. That's over 2 millennia of labor, innovation, and sacrifice poured into this colossal monument. And yet, despite its tragic history, its betrayals, and its failures, the Great Wall remains a symbol of resilience, a monument to the indomitable spirit of those who built it. It is more than just a relic of the past. It is a testament to the sacrifices, dreams, and nightmares of an entire civilization. Whether you see it as a marvel of engineering, a graveyard of lost souls, or an enduring legend, one thing is certain. The Great Wall of China is more than just a wall. It is a story carved in stone, stretching far beyond what the eye can see, whispering its secrets to those who dare to listen. So, what do you think about the dark history of the Great Wall? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode of World Decoded. Until next time, stay curious, stay questioning, and keep uncovering the hidden truths of our world.